Welcome to Wolf Spirit Radio.
Sing it with me. To the dream. To the dream. Everybody. To the dream. To the dream. To the dream. I have a dream. Someday I'll see a brand new rebirth of people on earth, all soaring free. A dream full of hope, faith and kindness divine. A world full of love from the power above for all of mankind. I hope and I pray that in this new day, all of our tears and all of our fears will be all swept away. I have a dream. Someday I'll see every man, woman, child, animal, tame and wild, living in harmony. I hope and I pray that in this new day, all of our tears and all of our fears will be all swept away. I have a dream for you and for me. Let's all pave the way every day for peace and harmony. I have a dream. To the dream. Let's all pave the way every day for peace and harmony. To the dream. To the dream. To the dream.
Hello, everyone. This is Jennifer Hillman, and this is Air Abstract Illusions Radio. And I had the pleasure of working with this amazing woman, and I sat at her kitchen table listening to Kathy B. and her amazing ways she has touched so many lives. And yet she has a TV show called Touching Lives, where she thanks people for touching the lives of so many people. And I told her right then, you know, you should be interviewed. So when I got this show, I'm going, hello, it's time to have Kathy on. So welcome, Kathy. So much for being on the show. You have so many wonderful things you do for people. And I personally just want to thank you for all that you do for other people.
Thank you, Jennifer. I have not even touched the surface of what I want to do yet. You know that. It's going forward and living this dream of just making things happen and bringing people along so people can live through their gift. People have a gift and they need to be able to, make it come true. I truly believe that.
And I just want to give people a little bit of how hardworking you are. You are a singer, and you're an incredible singer, and yet you have all these other projects that you do. You have helped a woman who wrote this life-changing poem, and you help her get it out to the public. You've just been through a lot of situations that would really kick people down, and you say, okay, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, let's keep going. Because when you originally started your singing, you really were more in the country genre, weren't you not?
Well, when I was a kid, that's basically what was on the radio. Because I'm from Bloomingburg, Ohio, and that's between Columbus and Cincinnati. And I listened to Patsy Cline, and the first person I ever got to see who was a star was one of the Cowboys. They had brought one of the Cowboys to town, and it was Tex Ritter is who it was. John Ritter's dad, and and he was my first person I ever got to see on stage. So I loved music, all kinds of, growing up in a church atmosphere. I started singing at 2. So, yeah, they had me up there, and it was cute because I was loud and I had this little voice that would stay on pitch. And even my daughter, who's now in her 30s, she started singing at 2 as well. So it was a gift that I had, and I totally enjoyed music. That's all I wanted to do was music. However, when I just kept exploring it and doing many things, groups on the roads and all that, I found out that it was hard for musicians to make a living. And unless you had a top hit record out there on the Billboard charts, that was, at that point, that's all I could see. That was my focus, to do that. And as you can hear, it was just very self-centered. How do I get my music out there to the public? And this kept up until I came to California in 1979, and I met a lady named Mary Stevenson Zangari, who wrote Footprints in the Sand. And when I met her and knew that this poem was anonymous, author unknown, that was when I loved it so much, and I felt so sad that she didn't have a copyright on her work. Because this is one of the things I learned when you're a songwriter. You put a copyright on it. And so all those years, she had to suffer with knowing that other people, they didn't know who she was. And then in the 80s, somebody even claimed that they wrote it, and it really upset her. So I didn't know anything other than to say, I am going to help you. Now, this is coming from a singer-songwriter who was going to help someone become known. And this woman wrote this in the 30s, 1936, when she was all of 14 years old. So I had no idea what I was saying, what I was going to get myself into, and it was a 20-year project, and we did. We got 2 book deals, almost a movie deal, it's all kind of legal battle things, and QVC, and all kind of things that happened. And I learned from her, who was a very spiritual woman, extremely spiritual. However, not religious, and I don't want to put anybody down or anything on that part of it, but this woman loved people. That was her gift to the world. And a gift. She would write out the Footprints poem, handwritten. And for all of you who've never looked up the poem Footprints in the Sand, it's a beautiful poem, isn't it, Jennifer?
It's phenomenal. It really is one of those poems that can change your life. It really can.
So with her, it was just walking with her, learning from her, I really grew up. And I took the focus off of me and started to want to help others too. So the very first show that I did, Touching Lives, there was a woman who wanted me to produce a TV show. I appeared on a show, and the director, she told me, she said, you really should do your own show. And I said, well, you want to produce it? And she said yes. So you never know what people are going to say in life. So my first show was Touching Lives, but the producer had a different thing in mind. She wanted to do a country show called KB Country. So we did 13 of those. But on my very first Touching Lives TV show, we had Mary come on. And we did a whole project, because she also wrote poetry about people who were abused as kids. And so I took one of her poems, and it's called The Little Seed, and turned it into a song and called Mama, Don't You Love Me? And this Mama, Don't You Love Me was about, from the point of view of a child being abused, a little tiny child. And we took that poem, turned it into a song, and created a nonprofit called Entertainers Against Child Abuse. And we would visit child abuse centers and raise money for them. So that project was It was really a good project, and it was my first nonprofit giving back project. In the meantime, we let people know about Footprints and that Mary wrote Footprints in the Sand. So everything is not easy. You hear people talk about different things that's happened in their life. I think what you do is you keep the dream. The song that I wrote, Do the Dream, it is, everything that I write, I think, is just, it's a part of you. So I live my dreams. They're not always, like I said, easy. They're challenging. But if you can, if in that dream you are helping someone else, then it's more apt to come true, because it's not something that's self-centered. I think that's those people that once they reach their goal, then they sit there, they go, well, what happened? I'm not happy, because they haven't reached out and loved other people. When I reach mine, I always set another one, but I am very, very, I look back and go, wow, how did that happen? That was cool. Let's keep going. There are more dreams to fill.
And you keep people really upbeat and wanting to achieve those goals and moving forward, and any way you can help them, you will. And you're just a very giving person. Since the moment I met you, you just opened literally your home to me. And I was feeling very, very blessed to have met you. There is so many different projects that you are still part of. You're very much a part of different organizations, the Red Hatters, Women in Film, and so many others that really it's a lot of groups that it's women helping women. Do you think that the way society is moving, more women are saying, we got to help ourselves because nobody else will?
I think that they are, and I that's a good thing. But with that, we've got to help ourselves. Here's the next layer. First, you got to wake up and say, yes, I am worth it, and I do have a dream, and I do want to fulfill what I believe I was put here to do. But then the next step is you have to have help. You seriously have to have help. And a lot of women, adults, people in the United States, one of the things that we don't do, we tend to not do, is ask other people to help us. And there are people out there who will help you, but you just have to get the courage to say, this is what I want to do. How can you help me? And there's the clarity, too. First, a lot of people say, well, I don't know what I want to do. So that's that inward thing, Jennifer. And you know what that is, looking inside. Yeah, you're very good at that. You're a wonderful person to talk to. And in fact, I want to give you your kudos, too, because, you came into my life and you were able to help me to grow. And I really appreciate you being there, because you're non-judgmental. You see things that other people cannot see. And I appreciate your gifts. And you're just a wonderful, wonderful spirit. And I thank you. Thank you for not forgetting. So, because most people will move on with their life, and they tend to not remember, or it's just a faint memory of other people. And I seriously, I'm helping put together our 40th class reunion. It shows you how old I am here, folks. And it's something that means a lot to me, even with all the other stuff I'm doing. I love my classmates, the class of 1973, and I really cherish people and the gifts that we all can share and give each other. Because, see, it's not about the getting old, it's the journey that we're taking with other people. So I share this group of people that were spent time with me in high school, and I spent time with them. I now get an opportunity to see them again, and that means a lot to me, because I'm from Ohio, and I lived out here, and I don't have basically hardly any relatives. My kids and one of my nephews lives out here now. Mark, Mark. So Mark is out here. Yeah, he moved here. He moved to California, so he likes it.
Well, what's not to like. And thank you for the kind words you said about me. But it's like, as I told you, I feel like we're kindred spirits. We both try and see the best in people and see how we can make them see the better part of themselves. We bring out potential and possibilities and say, here's a possibility for you. What do you think? And if they say, well, can you help me reach to that point? I know you'll say, okay, let me see what I can do. And that's just the kind of people we are. And I think there's more and more people coming to the point that they realize that we're in this together. The first guest was a man who grew up in the Congo and moved to Belgium to get out of the war-torn part, and found art was a great way of expressing himself, and through that he found a support system, and now he's expressing different ways around Europe and Africa, how they're trying to find ways to heal humanity by the unity that they're trying to find. And he's showing it in film. So I know there's a lot of people, and it's a growing community, and I think that's the beauty of art. It really tries to reflect society at its highest point as well as its lowest. So we learn and we grow.
And through the arts, you're reaching into that spiritual world. It's not the 1 + 1 = 2 thing. It's a different layer. And it's that love, kindness, caring that I wouldn't want to be on a planet without that, to tell you the truth. I enjoy getting that back and giving. But you have to receive. There are people out there who are afraid to give because they're also afraid to receive. And so their fear stops them in their tracks. And we all get it. I mean, yeah, this weekend was a weird one for me. But, and you stop and you meditate and you really start reading positive material and talking to people who are like-minded. And also you can gain from people who aren't, and maybe you can help them get to a point where you look inside and say, okay, what is it that I really want to do today? What do I want to accomplish? And you start from there. And it's also start from, you have to love yourself. Yeah, I'm not talking about being, egotistical or, but you have to love yourself in order to love other people. And you are a gift too. You have to say, okay, I'm a gift. I was put here and I love who I am. I'm not perfect, but the world is not perfect. However, I can make a difference. And I think if more people can get a hold of that, then I think that they will. There will be a world where people are coming together and they're working on their projects. And it's really cool when you see somebody else, like with Mary. I'll go back to Footprints and Mary because she's my mentor. And when she was finally able to get her very first award for the poem Footprints in the Sand, she had become very ill. She was in a wheelchair. And it was the Seroptimus women who gave her very first award in Bellflower. They had a convention, and she was in a wheelchair, and she's sitting on the stage. She could use her legs, but she was very weak. And when she stood up to read Footprints, she read it for the audience, and this was all improv. And it was like that whole place just was so silent, and she stood and read the Footprints poem to everyone. So they gave her that gift, and she gave them something they could remember for the rest of their life. And as well as me, because you plan certain things in life and you get these little gifts back that you never even thought of that would happen to you. I mean, I have 2 children. I was a singer on the road, so I wasn't planning children, but this is the best gift I ever got in my life was Carrie and Wes. So, you sometimes in life you're given these things. So it was.
And it's, go on.
Now I'm with Mary and Footprints. This is we met at the Palomino, and for all you people the Palomino's, it was in North Hollywood, and it was a country bar. It was sawdust and everything, but all the country artists were there, and I was singing a song called Blue Bayou. And Mary said, I love that song. And she came up to me and she said, "I want to make you spaghetti." And that's how we met. And from that, I looked in a box of her old poetry, and there was this Footprints old copy that she had. And I took it out and I was reading it and I said, "This is Footprints in the Sand." And I said, "I love this poem." My mom gave me a copy of it. I said, "But it's author unknown." And that's when she told me her story. So it all started with the story. And then she died in 1999, January 6, 1999. So we lost her then, but her work still, to me, when I see Footprints and I'm looking at it now, and eventually we did a music video. I have everything in the can since I do TV shows and things like that. I have footage in the can. I have a story that I wrote. I just had to get it out. So I wrote a story, Footprints, Mary and Me. I have not shared it, and I toyed with the idea of doing a little webcam, just little portions of it, giving, people just a bit of it to see if, like a little series of Footprints in the Sand, Footprints, Mary and Me. I think it would be something that if I can do it where it will be a gift to everybody, where they will grow. And here I am. There's another dream. I don't have enough to do, Jennifer.
Well, if inspiration, if you're blessed with an inspiration that keeps growing, it's like I just write it all down and I say, I'll get to it when I can, and I just keep going. And that's the beauty of having that connection with yourself and that love with yourself, because I think that's a big part of your inspiration is you're allowing yourself to imagine anything can be, and nothing is impossible. It may take you a long time, but you're going to get there. And if you help somebody else with their dream, all the better. So you have, you're starting up a new season of Touching Lives soon, correct?
Yes, Touching Lives. So when that first show did not air with Mary, then I did the country show. Years later, I decided, okay, it's time now. I'll always go through these little seasons of other things that I do. I wrote a musical in between, and I said, it's time for Touching Lives. So we took all the classes and all that, Access Studio, blah, 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 Access Producer, community producer type thing. And my very first Touching Lives show did not air at all. They lost it. They lost footage. What? Oh, man. So I knew that I had to take the bull by the horns, and this is my baby. I had to learn how to edit, do the camera work, where to buy things, where to, the footage, and stay up to date on when they changed from video to digital. So all
Right.
those kind of things, plus the internet. So basically, in life, if you love something and you see the value in it, you will take those classes or surround yourself with people that will want to do this. So I took at Least Access show, Touching Lives, and turned it into bought Least Access time for it. I took community access and brought Least Access time, bumped it up to an hour, had commercials and everything, run it in 14 cities, 168,000 households, and I did 250 shows. So that was the first phase of it. Then I became involved with the Downey Regional Medical Center. I was on their corporate board for 9 years, and the first time they'd had a woman on their corporate board. And then I became the chair of the board. And that was really challenging because the actual, our CEO had been there for 35 years, and he was voted out of his position at that time. Now, this is a very tough thing for anyone. It's a 200-bed hospital, employs many, many people in Downey, one of the second highest employees, if not the first. And I had to keep that community together. That was at the time where they were like, they needed a lot of nurses out here, and it was hard to keep nurses. So it was a lot of pressure, many attorneys, because they had to replace those people. We had to get a new CEO, we had to look at CFOs, and we had to smoothly do this transition and not lose our community. So it was tough, and I did 11 months of that. And once everything was in play, new CEO, everything was going smoothly, I left. I said, I'm done. It's time for me now to go back and do what I love, which is my music and my TV show. So I worked on my second musical. I'd already written part of it, and I completed it and did a showcase. It's called The Tin Can. My second musical is about the homeless in the corporate world. And it's really a piece from the heart that each character I can relate to. And they all have their own reason for being who they are. And I feel like I've lived each one of those too. So the Tin Can, we had this, it's a full musical, and then I shortened it to a showcase. So it could be used for a piece for a corporate event. So you could have this showcase musical for your entertainment. So we did that. Decided last year to let's go ahead and let's get Touching Lives back on the air. Let me work on this. I need an advisory board, and Jennifer, you were sweet enough and so kind enough to be on the first Touching Lives advisory board, because we needed to thank those people who've been on before, and created an award show to thank some of the people who had been on Touching Lives, some of those 250 segments, or people who had told us other people who really deserved to have recognition for being humanitarians and just kind, loving, wonderful people. And we were able to do that. Al Dro in the music department, we gave him his award, and the administrator of that hospital, who had been there for 35 years, had not been thanked. His name's Alan Corniff. And we were able to give Alan an award, as well as a gentleman named G. Webster Smith, who, his sister was the one who really, she was the person who wanted, that I said, I need to do this award show, because she called me in January of 2012, and she told me her brother, G. Webster, had passed away. And she felt so horrible because he had done so many things in the ice skating world. He was a black gentleman, the first African American who had been in that world to be a person who was a choreographer. He had people at the Olympics. And then he was in Iceland doing some projects there, and even in Jamaica with the Jamaican people to do ice skating events and bobsleds and things like that. So she said he'd never been thanked, he'd never received an award, and I'm going, you know what? We will do the Touching Lives award show. Now, when you guys hear me, I'm listening to myself going, this is how these things actually happen. People call, and I'm going, we will do this. And it's kind of scary, because when I say we will do this, I said the same thing to Mary with Footprints. We will get you known. It's like, don't know how, but there's that, we will. And we did. We did. The award show was fantastic. We had the Tin Can, as I said, for the showcase. And now our second one, we're going to be approaching some people to give awards to. We have our first advisory board meeting this Friday. So see, it's, now as for the TV show itself, I'm looking at August and September to start taping the show, because we are looking for syndication this time. And we will, if you can hear me, we will have syndication.
With you, Kathy, if you say we will, it shall be done. I have no doubt. That is, it's like I've been there and I've done that, and it's like it just magically, sometimes there's some setbacks, and we did have a few moments of, are we really going to get this done with the show, with the award show? But I knew it was going to happen. Your determination, I really had no doubt that it was going to happen. One way or another, it was going to happen. And phenomenal. And now you have a studio that is located in Bellflower that other people can use for other events, and it's absolutely gorgeous. That's another thing you said, I will get this done, and boom, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, that's another big surprise, because I was just looking at a stage, and I was looking at some lights on the stage, and my old set from Touching Lives. I was okay with that, but my husband stepped in, Don Hampton. He steps in and he says, "Okay, we're gonna make this beautiful," and it is. It's gorgeous. It's 3,000 square feet, perfect for seminars and workshops. And so this, in August or September, we're looking to start shooting the show, because I want to give myself that time to get my team together. See, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Get people to help me, because I'm a people helping people person. That's the theme of my show. This Touching Lives. I say, well, what is it about? It's a TV show where I bring people on who can help other people, and they have tips, and they're in all areas, from entrepreneurs to actors to singers to poets to everybody. I've had all kind of people from all walks of life. And this one gentleman, he had started his acting career at the age of 73, and he was very eccentric and just funny. And from being on my show, they took footage from the show, and he was able to get on Jay Leno. There was a documentary done about his life, and his segment from my interviewing him on Touching Lives was actually in the documentary. So there's been some of those kind of stories that have made me just smile, to just say, yes, okay, by people working together and caring about each other. And when you're on the show, too, I'm not there to tear you down. I'm there to bring you up. And that show is for that. Touching Lives. Let's talk about how you are helping others. And say you just have something that, you've invented. Then you can share with people how they get a new invention out there. So it's just so many ways that you can help other people. Even if you're a teacher, my goodness, what are you doing? What are the methods that you're using that are helping your students? See? So anybody can do it.
So, I mean, you also have another project called Doing the Dream, and we listened to the song. What is that project about, and what do you get out of all these projects, really?
Well, Do the Dream is a song that when I got to a point last year where I wanted to do my musical or my TV show again, there was a crossroads there. And I went to a place called CEO Space. And in CEO Space, Bernie Dorman is the founder of CEO Space. And he said, you choose one of your projects. Well, that's like choosing babies for me. Which kid you like the best? You don't. You like them all. So basically, that's when I wrote the song Do the Dream, because I needed something to encourage me at that time, and music always encourages me. So the song that you heard, I play that. I play that to remind me that you're doing your dream, you're living your dream. So the next thing that happened with that one was this year, Women in Film, because I'm a member, been a member since 1994, they had a pitch contest, and where you could pitch a show. And a lot of things happen to me at nighttime, so I just was laying there and I thought, Do the Dream, be a beautiful TV show. I'll pitch it. So I went through the process of, copywriting it and all of that. And Do the Dream basically it'll be my second TV show. Well, actually third, because, I did the show before, the KB Country. And that one, it's going to be exploring people's dreams, bringing them to light, and then granting dreams at the very end of the series. So, using 4 generations of people, young, the teenager, young adult, middle-aged person, and the senior to be dream makers in this process. So it's going to be fun. We will use the internet in order to have people to send us their dreams, and we'll be choosing best dreams, and at the end of the series, we will be granting those dreams. And of course, you'll have that follow-up show of what happened to their dream and how they felt about it. So it's a nice way to say all these things I've been talking about, how you can do your dream and help people do the dream. It's instead of talking about it, we're actually going to do it on TV. We're going to do a show like that. So there it is. I'm laughing over here because it's so much fun to just even think about it, of granting people's dreams and wishes.
And you know, as I was asking though, with all of these and helping so many people that you do, you know, there's a gain for everyone in everything we do. What is your gain from helping other people? I don't mean it in a negative way. It can be just to see them, you know, the joy of doing this for them. I'm not putting it in a negative way, but it's that whole entire. I'm sitting in my office right now, and in my office there's Jennifer. You were sitting here. Every project I have, they're in books. They're in these books. So when I talk to you guys about footprints, there's the footprints book I'm looking at. I write grants for an organization called Goals for Life. They help at-risk kids. What do I gain from all these projects? I just love doing what I do. I get up in the morning and I am happy. I am thrilled to get up and know that I get to work on my projects and I get to take them to the next level and also gather around people that they get to do these things. I think maybe I'm in the middle of 7 kids, but I've always been like this. Somebody asked me, well, what about who influenced you? And I said, well, my grandfather was a minister, and he was very old. He wasn't a minister at the time when I was taking care of him. I was very young, and I would make him his breakfast, and I would stay with him. And we would sit on his front porch, and he would tell me stories. And he was always upbeat. He always loved everyone. And it didn't matter that he was old and I was young. His stories were always fresh. And I just enjoyed that time. And I think that molded my touching lives. This is what I enjoy. I enjoy being with people. But it's to a point where I enjoy helping people. Now, there is a catch to that, because I don't want to do it for you. I want to help you, but not do it for you. So I don't want to handicap you and you say, here, Kathy, you do it. No, I'm going to say, I will help you, assist you, and you learn how to do it. And you'll get more from that than me doing it for you. My kids grew up that way, where they had to do their own projects. I was there to assist them. And I also gave Carrie and Wes a little tool that said, Mommy doesn't know everything. That gave them that, you can research it. I'm going to give you what I know, give you my best, but I don't know everything. So by giving them that, they didn't put me on a pedestal, and they had my permission to look it up and to get their best answers. And I think that was all a part of just growing up and being in tune with my surroundings. And I saw people who were suffering when I was little, and I would go and try and help them. And there was an uncle who didn't, he was bedridden. I always made sure he had his Thanksgiving meals. I made a big point out of it. And I would take it to him, and I was concerned about others. And the smile on his face when you brought him something, that's my reward. My reward. Now, do I need finances, be prosperous, to make things happen? Yes. Yes, because I can't do my project. The money is always needed.
Yeah. Can't do my projects without it. And my husband has taught me that, because Don Hampton manufactures superchargers for race cars. He's a former drag racer. And he's the one that taught me. He says, you really, Kathy, he said, you need to get paid, because if you don't get paid, you can't do your projects. And he's right. So I had to learn finances. I had to learn how to, I put five little piles of where I put money, and the number one pile is giving back. That's still a part of me. Even in the finances, you have to give in order to receive. These are just my thoughts, my beliefs. As I said to my kids, you can check them out on your own, but this is what gets me going. And this is the way I see the world. Now, can I change? I'm always looking, always growing, always reading. And anxious, and I guess what it is, it's the smile on my face right now, the happiness that I have from just knowing that I'm going to be able to make somebody else happy. There's my reward.
Well, I mean, and that there is so many things that, at least for me, that I get later. You know, the smile when they get it, even just sharing the smile, and the fact that you're listening just adds so much value to that person you're listening to, but also it really, at least for me, it enriches my life with knowing their story. And that's why I really wanted you on the show, because your story has enriched me and inspired me in so many ways that I wanted to give back to you, because you thank and show everybody else, and it's time for you to have the light shine on you. You are an amazing singer. I was blessed to and witness a beautiful moment that you sang Poetry Man to Smokey Robinson.
Oh, that was fantastic. That was fantastic.
And it was just like, he was on every note. He was just with you. Actually, everybody there was. But the connection and the beauty of your singing just touched everyone.
Well, Smokey,
and I don't think you necessarily get that at times.
Smokey wrote over 2,000 songs, and he is a person. Now, I will give you guys the heads up. We will be approaching about giving an award this year. He has touched so many lives, and so we will be approaching him. So you guys have a heads up on it, and I have a feeling that he will say yes. But when I sing it for the golf tournament for women in film each year, and Jennifer was there helping me, and Mark Mikolai. I appreciate you guys being there. I knew I was going to sing a song to Smokey, and I put out there on Facebook, I asked people, what should I sing to the legend? What song? And I didn't get much response. However, in my heart, I always loved Poetry Man by Phoebe Snow. And I said, you know what? That's who he is. That's exactly who that man is. And so when I dedicated the song to him, he came right up to the stage and looked right in my mouth. And that's kind of unnerving. You have to play it off. You have to act like you're not nervous. My voice doesn't get, but my knees were like going, okay, he's a legend. I had to say, okay, forget it. You're singing this song to a person, and you want, to dedicate this and, make them feel good about it. You don't want to mess up on your song. So it was really cool. It was such a neat feel. And then he gave me the biggest hug and a kiss. So it was just really a super, super wonderful, nice experience, to have a legend, to just give you your accolades. There was another time where I was able to, there's been some of those, where you are able to do your project and get something immediately back from all your work. My first musical is called The Christmas Toys, and I was able to license it out in Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii before. The Hilo Players, and went to Hawaii and was able to sit there and hear my play being done, not even touch it other than the paper, send the tracks, the music. And they had a cast of over 50 Native Hawaiians doing my piece. And my eyes just teared the whole time. And when I got there, it wasn't a commercial flight, so I didn't get the lei that everybody gets. And I had made a comment about, well, I didn't even get a lei when I got here. So at the end of this performance of the Christmas Toys, the last performance, they called me up as the author. They said they rarely get an author of a piece. They called me up on the stage, and each one of the 50 cast members made me a lei, homemade.
Oh, wow.
And my head was gone because 50 leis on you.
Yes,
You have
I
no,
sure was.
it's just a body and a bunch of flowers. Those moments. Going forward, I'm looking forward to doing my Tin Can as a full feature film. So I'm going to be reaching out to the people in that world. Because with it being already a piece that's on, stage for community theaters and hopefully Broadway, it lends itself to the full feature film, which puts that whole thing together in the little showcase. Now you've got a way to promote a piece so that it lives. And that should be a good example for a lot of people who want to get involved in making their projects, movies, and theatrical pieces. Today, the marketing end of it, you had Adam on, and he was talking about how you've got to make sure it's something that the people want to see, who's your audience, and then you've got to have a marketing plan for it. So I've created a marketing plan for the Tin Can because I think my projects personally, I treat them like my babies. So what are we going to do with you now, and how can we best serve you? It's just like I treat people. How can I best serve you? And when I say that, I'm also saying, how can you best serve yourself? Because
Exactly.
each project you have, you're the person who has to fuel that. It's like you're the farmer who put the seed in the ground, and you have to water it. You have to make sure the weeds aren't there. And you have to be able to make sure everything is fine. Because you cannot just give that seed to somebody else and expect the results that you want. You have to be the caretaker.
Very much so. And I know that there's been times that I've mentioned a project and people say, well, that's being done. And I go, but is it being done in this certain way? And I say, oh, no, nobody would take that on. And I said, yeah, I am. And it's one of those things, just like you, that your vision is so deep and so profound that how can anybody not want to get involved with what you're doing? Because people learn along the way.
I think one of the things that I've learned from Joe Vitale, I love his writing, and one of the things that I've learned from him is clarity. You have to be really clear about what you're doing. So I made a paper. I'm in a mastermind group. I do things like that so that I can, be accountable because, you don't want to. I can tend to procrastinate, and if anybody gets tired, you have to recharge. I mean, there's days I will be tired. I'm spent, and I just need to just recharge, and that's okay to take that time to say I need to just rest here. But with Joe Vitale, he's being clear about what you want. So when I go to CEO Space, we send out these cards. We go 5 times a year, meet with entrepreneurs and inventors and speakers. And what we do is we send out these little see me cards and say, see me, because I might have a lead for you. I took it to the next level. I have wealthba.com is one of my little sites, and on that one, I'm building a group of people who want to specifically help each other. And with that one is you filling out a list of clearly saying what you want to accomplish, what you need, and how you see, where you see it going, and the resources you already have and what you're looking for. Now, if you write down on paper, you write down that and you switch it with people. You have people, somebody else has theirs. Now you have in front of you specifically what your friend or your colleague needs. And then you can help them, and they in turn can help you as well. I think it's a new little project for me right now, and I'm gathering people who want to do that, who want to help each other. But you've got to be clear, because it's really easy for me to say, oh, Jennifer writes poetry. Here's a poet. here's someone who writes poetry too, Jennifer. You guys might want, but that might not be what you need. You might need somebody who has a looking for people to put in their book, a collage or something. I don't know because I don't know what's in your brain, but if you write it down specifically and you're clear, I can help you. I can help you grow.
And, you know, just even having a conversation every time we just sit down and it's like time flies, number one. You know, a conversation, then I think, okay, it's going to be 10 minutes. It will be well over an hour. And it's because we just exchange ideas, and it's really an amazing thing. One thing that I do want to touch on really quickly, because we have about 10 minutes left. When you have one of those projects, how do you get over those hurdles, those obstacles, those self-doubts, or do you get them?
Oh yeah. You always get things like that. But my things, that's a good question. That's a very, very good question. I was telling you about that Joe Vitale, and he has a book called Spiritual Marketing. Now I take things to the really, you know, out there. If you guys can you know, get that. He has, in that book, it says script to reprogram your DNA. And so what it is, basically, it's a dialogue, self-dialogue, and has little blanks that you can put things in between. And so when I run into something, you know, like part of it, I'll just read a little bit. It says spirit, you say God, or, you know, whoever, the greater one, please locate the origin of my feelings, thought of negative, feeling negative about, and there's a blank, whatever that blank is. Take each and every level, layer, area of aspect of my being to this origin, analyze and resolve it perfectly with God's truth. Come forward in time, healing every incident based on the foundation of the first, according to God's will. So there's a whole list of things on that I do when I'm stumped. And I'll take a little piece of paper, and I'll put specifically what it is at that particular moment. I date it. And here's one for May 8th. Now, you probably crack up. This was May 8th, 2013. This is what I wrote. Putting myself out there. Fear of failure, of loss, and no shows. That was where I was feeling about having my grand opening. I just didn't want to have a loss. Fear of failure. And putting it out there, resolving it right then. Where did that come from? You know, and giving God the job of his job of helping me. And asking asking for help in that area of my own little personal doubts. Then going on and saying, we're good. This is great. Let's go forward.
So, you've learned through the process of getting through your negative thoughts and stuff, a new level of trust, would you say?
Of trust, of getting it out there first, acknowledging what it is. Very important. Very important. You got to look at it and say, okay, this is what it is. And if you can face your fear, face that, then you can ask for the help disappear. And I keep notes. I keep track of all of these. I've been doing this for 3 months now. And I have these little notes. I glue them on the back of the sheet. And then each month I start a new sheet. I keep track of things because I like to look back and say, okay, what bothered me then? And then I look forward and going, that doesn't even bother me now. And now I'm taking care of myself because, see, when we were little, our parents didn't have these tools. And so, and even I've apologized to my daughter for some things that I did not. I'm learning and discovering every day. So we have to take care of ourselves before we can help others. That's another thing. And so I'm trying to help me to help others as well by taking care of these little negative things that go on and you know, the little doubt things that are there and just squashing them. Because my other thing is I'm thinking time-wise, I don't know how much time I have. I'm enjoying all of it. But it's like even with this little clock ticking over in the corner here, you know, we're almost out of time. But yeah, I'm enjoying every bit of it. And Jennifer, thank you. Thank you for having me come on because I do enjoy spending time with you. We talk about so many things on a deeper level, and you're so encouraging, and you're just so helpful. And I hope for you that all the things that you want to do, that you find that courage and you find those people and the people that will help you. So everybody out there, listen, this lady needs help too with her projects, and she's got a wonderful, super show and a fantastic spirit. So I want to see success for you. And I know you're going to be on my TV show too, but you'll have your poetry book then, right?
Yes, I will have at least 3 books done.
There you go.
I'm putting it out there that I'm getting 3 books done.
There it is. And so all the help that you will need, you will have that. Just write it down. And I'm serious about that. I had somebody else tell me that a long time ago. He said, well, write it down. And he didn't go to that next step. Just write it down. Write it down and believe it. Write it down and share it. There's so much fear of somebody, always afraid that somebody's going to make fun of you or say that you can't do it. Their opinion of you is not who you are.
Exactly. So we need to start closing this up now. Believe it or not, it goes really quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So where is the best place? What websites do you want people to really go and explore and find out more about yourself?
prproductions.com or kathyb.com.
Those are great sites. And you also, on the PR Productions, you definitely have information if they would like to rent out the studio as well, which I really, I keep seeing ballroom dancing there. I don't know why. It's just very elegant and graceful. So maybe you can have Dancing with the Stars come visit or something. You never know. Anyway, Kathy B., you are an inspiration to me and to so many people, and I do want to thank Thomas Henry for the invitation because he was very nice and said, I got the perfect person to meet, and because of him, I met you. So thank you, Thomas. So with that, this is Jennifer Hillman, and this is Abstract Illusions Air. We will be on very soon. Enjoy the week, and we'll check you out next week. Thank you very much, Kathy B., and all of you for listening. Goodbye.